Hey everyone, welcome back to another racing video. Today we're at TeamSport Newcastle and we're going to do some Santa Karts. Sorry for the delay for getting this out. I had some issues with the computer, however they are all now fixed, so they should have really came out for Christmas or before the new year, but we do have some content already lined up. By the time this is out as well, we should have visited a new track, which is Bradford TeamSport, where the quick finishers had a nice challenge with Stockton. So for the layout of today's race, now this is the start of the actual race. It was 45 minutes, we had already done qualifying and we are in teams. So the person in front of us, Matthew, is part of our team as well, and we managed to qualify first and second. So while we're waiting to actually go out, we devised a plan what we're going to do, because there's going to be pit stops, there's going to be action and there's going to be tasks. So we tried to work out what was best between me and him, first and second, when's best to pit, when's best to do a joker lap and all sorts. So there is lots of excitement in this race. And to be honest, even though we planned what we were going to do before we went out, it all goes to pot, as I'm sure everyone expects by now. And obviously you can already tell how long the video is, but it's definitely going to be cut down, so I'm not sure exactly how long this video is going to be at this moment in time, but I will make sure I get the best highlights I can. Right, so quick jump to the start. I will let you know my plan here was to try to get into second place and to hold up the rest of the pack, because I was going to pit as soon as the pit window was up, which was after one lap. But if you've ever done a start here, everyone is really bunched up, so I had to make sure I try and force my way in, especially with Josh behind Matthew, and he is a pretty fast driver as well. But first part of the plan paid off, managed to get in just behind Matthew in front, so at least we can make sure he can get away. So I was planning on actually backing up the pack, but everything goes to pot when you get into the race, and I decided to try and push Matthew along, as this kart did feel really good. But what we couldn't tell behind was there's actually been an accident, so as soon as we get past this corner here, you will see the flashing yellow lights. So this should be prime time to actually go into the pits, as we've learned from our previous videos. So I'm trying to think, should I go into the pits as soon as next time round? So I'm hoping for these yellow flags to actually last longer than they actually are. I'm also a little conscious that if the accident has went straight into the pits as well, have they actually blocked the pit lane? So there's lots of things going through my mind that I want to make sure we get this right, as we have a good chance of actually winning this. I was actually slowing down a little bit more than I should have as well, hoping that Matthew was actually going to race ahead. But lights go green again and there is a little bit of a gap. But as I said, the car is feeling really good, so I are back on the bumper of Matthew here. I also have Josh tapping away at my back end as well, so I'm trying not to make too much of a mistake, get pushed wide and then lose lots of positions as well, even though I am going to do my joker lap as soon as I possibly can. But all good so far. Another thing to mention is that Matthew has recently jumped up from juniors and he's actually doing an amazing job battling it out with all the seniors, as well as of how fast he actually is. So give him some love in the comments below. So we have just passed the grids there. Wasn't sure if I could have came in yet, so I did point to the marshal, which did indicate yes, everything's fine. So at least I know the next time I go around I am going in that pits. And again, I'm feeling really fast, so I am trying to push Matthew along that little bit faster, because Josh is still tapping my back end right now. So pit stops are crucial, as you found out in my last video. Now in this one though, when you get midway up, you will be met with a marshal and you have to pull a cracker. If you win the cracker, then at least you can go straight away. If you lose the cracker, you will be held for 5 seconds. So I've got to think, has somebody went in the pits already? And if they're stuck, as well as I want to make sure I win the cracker pull. And if you've ever tried to Google this, don't try to Google how the best way to win a cracker, because not the right things will show up. Right, and we're just about at the pits now, ready to see the best mistake of the video so far. So we're going to put in hand up to make sure Josh knows that I'm in. Straight away, don't know which side to go in, and I decided to crash straight into the barrier. Not the best thing to do, and I'm panicking. Didn't lose too much time, but at least we managed to pull the cracker and we win. Great, so at least we can go, everyone celebrates, and we haven't lost that much time. In the pits as well, there is a limiter. I'm trying to go here as fast as I possibly can, although I'm not using my body weight this time, which is a bit weird, but at least we do make sure we get on the back of the field straight away, so we haven't lost too much time and we're not in a battle straight off. Now in theory, if I was any good at editing videos, I would say cue the montage now and it'll be us making our way through the actual pack. Well, it wasn't really a montage, but hopefully that got a little bit more footage in there, and at least it helps me get this video out a little bit faster. So thanks very much for sticking with us that long. Hopefully you saw some fun overtakes and just a crash from me as well. But now we are on the back end of Josh, who, as you remember, did start third, and also the person in front of him, Lewis, is actually, they're both really fast here. So it is good to actually catch these guys up and be on the back of them, because at least we know we would be on the front of the pack if we stayed with them. But to be honest, we have still another pit stop to go. Now this pit stop will be a kart change. As you can imagine, these electric karts only last around about 20 to 25 minutes on speed 4 before they start lacking power. So they do need to make sure that there is a pit stop, so at least we are into fresh karts that have been on charge while we've been racing. As you saw when I tried to go in the wrong side of the pits, that they're currently there. As mentioned before, and maybe you've noticed as well, I have had lots of confidence in this kart. It has felt really good, so I am a little bit worried about jumping into the other kart, maybe it not being as fast or as grippy, but at least I will know is that the tyres will be slow. So we do jump in the pits here, haven't crashed, which is always a good sign, and we need to jump into the other side. At least we weren't slowed up by a kart in front, which is always good. So now we need to grab the seat insert, jump into the other side, and Ferrari would be proud of this. Maybe not, that was a little bit slow of me just doodling over, but at least I managed to jump the seat forward, not like last time where I'm cramped up, and it's unfortunate that it's not under a yellow flag. Right, so we're back on the track behind Santa, or Hayden in this case. Now this car actually did get stuck onto speed 3, so I'm not quite sure of what's doing, so you may see me try and press the boost button a couple of times, but everybody was in the same boat. It happened to maybe 1 or 2. One person was a little bit unhappy because I don't think it came off speed 3 until I went back into the pits. And also, the other person had to go in the pits because of it was our teammate. So although we were doing good, he did have to make an extra pit stop. So we will see at the end of how much that affected where our positions were. Now it does go on points of where our positions are. So for example, if we were first and second again, we would be in first place as a team. But they will calculate the actual points. So for example, if one of us is first, one of us is last, etc. It might be that we might be mid-pack. But again, we will see right at the end. Now I do really enjoy the formats that TeamSport do, especially when you have to have pit stops and joker laps, etc. because you don't really know where you are on the track if you're doing really well, so you've always got to push. You can't really relax at any point, and making sure you're making them positions as best you can. The next video which we will have out is a Need for Speed, which I didn't realise the 4 is for 4 races, which I realised in Driver's Briefing when they explained it, which made much more sense. So that should be out the following week. So we have had a full lap and a bit of this car. It actually feels pretty good. We are on the bumper of Hayden. Now Hayden is very fast round here as well, so at least we know we're not slouching. However, we don't know if he is struggling. What I am also doing is having to check further ahead of the grid to see where Josh and Lewis were, because I knew they were very fast and were most likely going to be quite far up the actual grid. Now they are a full top of this kart track ahead, so we need to get our foot down, but we don't know if they've had their kart switch, etc. Also, if you do look a little bit far ahead, is our teammate Matthew in the blue suit, and at this point I don't know if he's had any pit stops, but at least if we're together, considering we start first and second, we should have been doing alright, or that's what I was thinking in my head. But thank you very much for Hayden there, as we were nearly pulling alongside him at the end of the straight, so there was maybe something up with his kart, but at least there is another position there, try and catch the group in front. Now, we were in a bit of no man's land for a bit, so I do skip forward, and we are behind Freddie, who is also in the blue suit, the same that Matthew was wearing, but at least you can recognise Freddie with his yellow hat. Now, I have had some good battles with Freddie lately, which all you can do is hear him giggling in the actual helmet, and we might actually hear this as well. Now, I do know is that he did have his kart sometimes jump into speed 3 for some random decision. Now I don't know if you will be able to hear this on this footage, but if I do I will make it louder, but it is quite funny to actually hear. I can also safely say is Freddie is nearly one of the best defenders that I've ever known, especially around TeamSport. He knows exactly where someone might actually jump, and the best thing to do is catch him off guard, which you may see on my next video when I release that. Whether or not I made a stick is another matter. So he does tend to white line it, especially on the top of the track. He is looking exactly where I am all the times, which is good to know. However, it is slowing us both down. So I am thinking I've got to make sure that I make a bold move whenever I go for this overtake. Whether or not it's something that he's not expecting, there might be a little bit of contact. Who knows? If TeamSport's watching, I do apologise. You can see me give him a little bit of push around that corner there, so he definitely knows I'm there. He is thinking I'm going to go around the outside there, but hopefully I can get the switch back, but not quite. Again, he goes straight for the white line, looking exactly where I am. Now this is slowing us up big time, however, it is very fun to actually be in these battles. Especially since I've just been in no man's land when there was no one around and I just had to go around by myself. Now, it really didn't help that he was on the white line there. He couldn't carry any speed. Now, I'm worried about the people behind us. Now, he does actually jump into speed 3 there. Allows us to get around the outside. Forced him onto the barrier and we've managed to make that stick. Don't know how. He was shouting. You can't actually hear it on the footage or I would have made it louder. But it definitely is Kart to jump into speed 3, which allowed me to get the move. What I've also realised with Freddy is that even if you do manage to get that overtake, you've got to worry for the next couple of corners because he will want that back. But at least he hasn't managed to be able to lunge. As he said, he maybe had a bit of an issue with his kart. But there's another one done. Now, Freddy was at the stop, like the front of the pack anyway. So I am thinking that we're doing quite well, especially Matthew I can see still in front. But only time will tell. We'll skip ahead a little bit, so we are with somebody. Now, there was actually a red flag between this. What had happened is Freddy did pull in and he was maybe a little bit unhappy and left his car in the middle of the pit lane, so I had to move that. But at least all good, things happen, and it was just that maybe heat of the moment sort of thing. I think someone else actually pulled in the pits at that point as well, so it was going to be a little bit of a traffic jam. Now, all the pit stops should have been done by now, all the Joker laps should have been done. So, whoever we are around should be roughly where our finishing position would be. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I do apologise if you are watching this, I'm not sure who is actually in front, because there is a few with black suits and black helmets. So, please leave a comment below if it is you, and I'm sorry for that bump out that corner. But I've seen your hand go up, so you must have thought that jumping into speed 3 at that point. Looking at the footage, we were actually with each other for about 5 minutes. But when we get to this corner, he is on the white line. I have managed to put him offline for this corner. Tried to try to switch back, but end up just pushing him, but then you've let us pass, so thank you very much. I also was waving to Matthew, who was coming the other way on the actual track, so at least there is only 2 positions between me and Matthew for this one, or by the thought of it. I wasn't aware that he had to do an extra pit stop, so he's maybe 1 lap actually behind. But anything can happen because we don't know what's happened with the other people. As we have seen that Hayden had an issue, Freddy had pulled off, so we're maybe in for a good chance. Now, we do manage to catch up to the car in front, however this is the end of the race. So we have managed to condense 45 minutes into 15, so God knows how I've done that, but at least we've had fun while we've done it. So overall, we actually came in 6th place. Matthew, unfortunately with his extra pit stop, he managed to come down into 12th place, but at least everything was all over. Now, the person in front I don't think was actually for position, so at least we weren't losing too much not getting that extra position there. Now, before I say exactly where we came as a team, I want to thank you for lasting the video this long. If you haven't already, please give this video a like, or indeed consider subscribing, as I much appreciate the support. But in the end, as a team, me and Matthew came 2nd. So quite proud of that result, but that is it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the track next time.